Well, hello. Uh, this will be series on how to make an MLO. It will be a multi-part series, so if I don't cover something immediately in the first one or the second one, you can be sure that I will be covering it later in the series. But what we're gonna start with is a very basic, very basic MLO. So we have Blender ready, RPF Explorer, and CodeWalker. So we want to hop into CodeWalker and find ourselves a place where we want to build. I actually found one. It looks pretty decent and it's gonna fit the series very well. It's this building, this one. So what we want to do is enable the cursor and the move tool. And let's start selecting. This is a decal. We don't need that. This is the detail. We don't need that either. And this should be the building. Yes, this is the building. So copy name, paste, check the model. Yes, this is it. So right click, export as XML, navigate yourself into your project folder, and here create a new folder, CodeWalker export. Open the folder and export right there. Now in the model preview, go into materials, save all textures, and you see it created a new folder right here. So open it and extract all textures there. Now save shared textures in the same folder. Now it also has a YTD. So same thing, save all textures into the same folder. And that's it. Now we have a building. Now what we want to do is change the time to night. And you see it's lighting it up with the night model. So we want to grab this as well. Copy. Paste. Right click. Export as XML. And export into your CodeWalker export folder. Not in the textures, into CodeWalker export. All right. So now we are prepared to hop into Blender. Now in Blender, I'm gonna delete everything from the scene collection. I'm gonna enable this so you can see what I'm pressing. Here in bottom left corner, you'll see all the buttons that I'm pressing. So if you're unsure, you can look there to know what I pressed. So in our collection, create a new one, call it base or whatever you want to, or GTA or something, because this is gonna be the collection. We're gonna be importing the base file from your project. Navigate yourself to your project folder, CodeWalker export, and import these two. Now we can hide the emissive one right now because we don't need it. Now if you click on the viewport shading, it'll load all the textures. Now you see the model has embedded lighting, so to disable that you can hop into viewport overlays and just untick extras. And that's it. Now the light is still there, but you don't see the circles. Now what we want to do is, we don't want to build like this. This is ugly, this is disgusting. It's rotated, it will make it 10 times harder. So going to top view and rotate your building accordingly to the grid. I'm gonna hop back to solid view just so I can see the edges a little bit better. And you want to line it up with the grid as best as you can. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be somewhat decent, just so you will be actually building on the right angles, and it will make your collision and your MLO creation much easier, because you won't be having any additional issues later on, like MLO popping in and out, or weird corners with your bounding boxes and all that sort of stuff. Okay, this looks nice. That looks nice. And this one too. Okay, okay. So when we're all square, I'm gonna hop back into FiveM shading, and here I go back to overlays, and I like to disable floor, just so the grid is not appearing, so I can see a little bit better. And now just select your model, and we want to delete this decal because we're gonna be using these doors. And now you can start selecting all the windows and doors and everything. And yes, I'm saying selecting. You do not want to delete them, you just want to select them. So when you have it all selected, I'll select these as well. Okay, when you have it all selected like this, you want to right click, separate, and selection. Now back to object mode, select the doors with the windows, right click and clear parent and keep transformation. Now Control A and apply all transforms, just on the doors and the windows, nothing else. Now we can rename the model to junk. Now here, clear geometry nodes. Here, click on this arrow, remove unused slots and all the other materials as well. Now in data, open color attributes, remove the tint color attributes because you don't want them as well. Actually, you can even remove the color 1 attribute because you're not gonna need that. And now when it's all cleaned up, we can hide it, create a new collection, and in the new collection, have it selected, or name it shell first and have it selected. And now Shift A and spawn yourself a cube. Now when you have your cube spawned, hop into edit mode. Do not move the cube in object mode. Immediately when you spawn it, hop into edit mode, and you want to move this only in edit mode to preserve the point of origin right here, so it has the same point of origin as the building when we're building in. This will also make your copying your transforms and location a million times easier. Okay, so now I'm gonna enable X-ray right here in top right, and here I'm gonna change it to vertex and enable the snapping tool. And here I also have vertex selection mode active, and I'm gonna snap it right here into this corner. Then I want to look from the front and roughly shape it into the shape of your interior. Okay, and this edge I want to snap right here, so I press G and Y to snap it. Yes, I know you cannot see it, but whenever you have your cursor right here, you know that you're going to be snapping onto this vertex. So you press G and then Y to lock the movement over Y-axis and place it there. Now we know all the corners are 90-degree angles. We have nothing crooked, and if Rockstar has something crooked, it's none of our concerns. You don't need to realign it or realign it or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that your creation is going to be nice and squared up. Now with this wall, I want to snap it over x-axis onto this corner. With this wall, I want to snap it over x-axis onto the doors. And the bottom is a little bit too high because it's uneven. There is no step. Here are 2 steps. So to even it out, I'm gonna snap it below the second step, just so it's a little bit more even. And now the ceiling. With the ceiling, you just want to have it like a thickness of a brick. This looks completely fine. You don't want it too close. You don't want it too far away. In this case, you don't want to have it below this door frame. You want to have it somewhere a little bit above. But you also don't want it too close to the ceiling because there's going to be the world collision. And if you have it too high, you may be facing issues like, you know, you will be able to reach the ceiling with your camera just like about yay this. And there will also be clipping and all that other stuff that you don't want to see. So having a space in between is very important. Now, when we have the basic shape, you can hop back into object mode. And now hide your building. You can hold Shift, like you see here, and then I'm just clicking the eye. That hides everything underneath it. Now I want to unhide this junk. I'm gonna move it into the shell. I'm gonna select the junk, go into edit mode for it. And here, I'm gonna grab this side, move it a little bit offset, this side 2, and this side 2. Now, AM by distance, change it to 0.001. Remove 0 vertices, that's great. Now X, limited dissolve. Now back to top view, and here I press E and Y and put it like halfway inside, so it's 50% out, 50% in. EX and EY. Okay. Now you see the bottom is kind of wonky, so we don't want it to be cutting into our floor. So I'm gonna select the bottom vertices and move it up just so it's creating a tiny lip, so it's not cutting into my floor. Now when you have the junk selected, just right click, shade flat, hop back into edit mode, Alt M, reset vectors. And yeah, now we are prepared to cut our windows. So go into modifier tab, search for Boolean modifier, grab this eyedrop tool and place it on your junk object. Now hide the junk object and check all around how it's cutting. Now we see it's not cutting, so we change it from exact to fast. And now we see that it's cutting into our cube. So we apply the modifier, we go into edit mode, and we select all the vertices on the inside of the model, just the ones that are inside. And then you press X and delete vertices. And as you can see, now we have our windows and our doors all nicely cut. So now, to clean up the topology a little bit, you see that you have vertice right here, in the middle of nowhere. These are unconnected, 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 poorly connected. That's only because we used Boolean to cut it, but using Boolean is not just faster, but it's also making all the geometry much cleaner, and you're gonna have to clean it up manually anyways. So if you're gonna be creating the windows with bazillions of loop cuts, you're gonna end up with much more mess than you see right here. So let's go and let's fix this mess. So first things first, I press A and M by distance. It removes 0. That means none of them were overlapping. Now I'm gonna grab this one, go into Tools, Options, and Enable Auto Merge. And I'm gonna just snap it right here to the bottom. I'm gonna select these two, press J to connect the path in between them. You're gonna be pressing F, press J. J is connect the vertex path. F is fill. You want to just connect the path with an edge. So here, the same. J, this one, snap to the top, these two, J, these two, J. Now this one, I'm gonna Control R to place a vertice and snap it here. And yes, Control R is to create a loop cut, but since this geometry is unable to calculate a proper loop around it, it's just placing a vertice, which in our case is actually a good thing. Okay, I'm gonna grab this one, connect path right here, connect path right here, connect path here, connect path here, here too. Now I'm gonna fix this one. All right. This one too. Not what I wanted. Okay. Now I'm gonna snag these two right here. Like this. And I see here it's a little bit offset. Oops, that was hide, not move. Okay. So now the geometry is somewhat cleaned up. I'm gonna correct this one as well. All right, and look how nice and clean it is. Amazing. So the next step, what we actually want to do is we want to fill in any gaps that are in the window and door area. So you see here, there is a big ass gap. There are two ways to cover these gaps. You can either first cover it with a window frame, or second, for our just testing purposes, you can go into edge selection and just select these and press E and snap it to this vertice. So we're gonna start with this. And when we are done, we're gonna move on to the doors. Okay, now when we are done, we're gonna fix any gaps that are in these doors. This one looks fine. Just this slip is a little bit too high, so I'm going to move it a little bit down. Okay, looks fine. Now this slip is a little bit too low, so I'm gonna move it up. I'm gonna select this edge, snap it to here over y-axis, this edge to here, extrude over y-axis. And now this top is a little bit crooked, so I just want to select vertice G over Z, and here G over Z. Okay, looks fine. So yeah, that's the doors finished, and all the gaps within the windows finished as well. Okay, and I think we can wrap it up here for the first part. I think you're gonna be having a hard time learning how to make it from the cube, because most people are teaching how to make it from a plane, which I find overcomplicated and messy. And in the next part, we're gonna start with how to export textures from any GTA MLO, and I'm gonna explain a little bit about shaders, so you kinda roughly understand what you should be using and what you should not be using for your shaders for MLO. What I can say right now is just don't ever use default shader. On anything, never use default shader. Unless it's LODs or low quality objects, just forget about default. So yeah, that's the end of the first part. If you have any questions or need any help, I have created a brand new Discord server. I'll put the link in the description, so feel free to join and ask questions or whatever. And all my research that I find or discover about most common bugs or issues within Sollumz or GTA related stuff for MLO, clothing, weapon, prop creation, and such. Okay, so see you next time.